Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. Cure Childhood Cancer is celebrating 50 incredible years of life-changing breakthroughs. That's a half a century of hope and progress, honoring a movement that has saved thousands of lives and continues to push the boundaries of what's possible. Now, this weekend, you're invited to an event like none other that commemorates the memory of a local girl while supporting families affected by pediatric cancer. We're talking about Katie's Gathering in Effingham County. Jenny Wilkins is the Development Director of Events for Cure. She is also Katie's mom. Thank you so much for being here
Thank you
today.
for having me.
Now, we do want to let people know that the event itself is sold out, but there are other ways that you can support this gathering.
Absolutely. It sells out pretty quickly. We're expecting 600-ish guests, 600, 650. It's a lot of fun.
Just a small 600,
Just
right?
a small 600. But everyone can participate. If you Google Katie's Gathering, Katie is with a C, C-A-T-I-E''S. But if you Google it, it'll pop up and just go to the Effingham event. It'll take you straight to our auction. We've got a fabulous auction, several Louis Vuitton purses, an emerald and diamond necklace. Over 500 items. There's something for everyone, and everyone can win that. You don't have to be present to win. And then we also have a fantastic raffle for a first-class Napa trip. It includes first-class airfare, a hot air balloon ride. Yeah, so anybody can win that. You don't have to be present to win. So go get those raffle tickets. It's a $15,000 trip, and you can win it for $100.
And we're taking a look at some video from last year's event, and there's Katie. Tell us about Katie.
So Katie was our firstborn. She would be in almost her mid-20s now. It's crazy to think. But on her first birthday, she was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. And we entered a world that we knew very little about. Treatments and radiation and hospital stays. She battled for about 3.5 years, and we lost her to a common infection because her counts were low because of chemotherapy. But that was God's mercy. We would have lost her anyway, and brain tumors are a tough way to go. So, but she died in 2007, and at some point in the next 6 months, my husband Trey looked at me and he said, "We've got to do something. Like, this is not okay, you know." So, long story to how we got to where we are, but our first event raised like $5,000, and it's just grown from there, from one event to 8 events across the Southeast.
And you have currently raised more than $5 million over the years.
We have. I think we actually, very recently, before we sent the press release, just crossed the $6 million mark. So we are. We can't do that alone. If we throw parties and nobody comes, we can't raise the money to do the work that is so important that Cure Childhood Cancer does. So it's a testimony to the communities that we're in and the people in those communities and their generosity.
And the incredible thing about this is it started as a gathering in Effingham County. Now it is all over the region.
It really is. We have them in Savannah and Bryan County and Statesboro and Bluffton. We're going to Augusta. So we love it that they spin off and they're reproducible, and you know, they help us get out the message and the lack of funding that childhood cancer faces. It's hugely underfunded. So it's two purposes. It fuels it, you know, helps us get our message out there and helps us raise funds to fuel the work that Cure does.
And you mentioned that Katie's treatment was hampered by a lack of available options. So that's why this whole thing started. Let's talk about some of the people, because there are a lot of people and organizations involved. One is Springfield Elementary, and also James Carlson.
James Gerbasi does a lot for us. James Carlson's been involved with us for a long time as well. He's a great supporter of everything that happens in Effingham County. James Gerbasi with Gerbasi Signs. He does, I don't even have words for how much he does for us to help us put more of our money towards our mission, because he discounts so much of what we do. He has a sign business, a printing business, and he does all our printing. So he's just fantastic. Springfield Elementary is our title sponsor, and they blow me away. They're a tiny little school with the biggest heart, and they raised $37,000 to go towards our event this year. So they're amazing.
They are amazing.
Yes.
Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today. And you just heard Jenny, the event is sold out, but there are other ways that you can support this effort, and you can find more information and see this interview again anytime on our website by visiting wsav.com/community corner. We appreciate you so much and the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.